Hey, what's up, guys? Jonathan Coates here. First video after a year and a half, and I'm going to be talking about copywriting today. Go a little easy on me. Just be patient with me because I'm still kind of getting back into the groove of things. But what I'm really excited about is a formula made by Ray Edwards that's very strikingly similar to Gary Halbert's PAS formula. Now, if you've been following my channel, about 3 years ago now, I made a video called Problem Agitate Solution. That's the PAS formula. And I got like a quick little summary here just to break it down. I'll freestyle it for you. But the P stands for problem, the A stands for agitate, and the S stands for solution. So you want to highlight the pain, the problem, let them know what it is that they're going through. And then A stands for agitate, where you amplify it, you let them know how bad it can be and how terrible the life will be if they continue to sit with that pain. And then that's when you follow up with the solution. So as you can see here, PAS, you can either say pain, problem, or you can say person, like a person's problem. But that's what it says in the passive formula. But in the original PAS formula, it's just problem or pain. Start by clearly identifying a specific problem that your target audience is facing. This grabs their attention, and then you can build relevance. And then you agitate the problem. As I was saying, you make the pain feel real. You deepen it by highlighting the consequences, frustrations, and the risk if it's not solved. This will create the emotional urgency. And then the S stands for solution. That's when you introduce your actual offer to them. Now, Ray Edwards is the creator of a formula. It kind of takes not only the PAS formula, but other formulas in my copywriting tutorials playlist, such as AIDA and a few others. So let's just go over the passive formula real quick. And I actually got some examples from swipe.co where you can find this exact formula in here, as well as this guy right here, Karabuta. He has a hand letter. I actually made a video about this quite some time ago. And then the colon cleanser. So I'm going to go over this. This is also about Gary Halbert. But speaking of Gary Halbert, he was the master of the AIDA formula: attention, interest, desire, action, and star story solution, which is one of my favorites, where you have a star of the story that you're telling, and that star goes through a transformation process. He tried this way, he tried this way, and then he actually found this. And then he tried it for a little while, and it transformed him into the person who is now achieving the desired result from basically the desired result that's similar to the problem that your target audience is having. And then, of course, you follow it up with a solution. But Ray Edwards sort of modernizes it a little bit. He takes that classic direct response style into the pastor method. So P in the pastor method stands for person, problem, or pain. As I was saying earlier, you can use person, identify who you're talking to and the problem that they may face. A stands for amplify, similar to agitate from the PAS formula, stress the consequences of not solving the problem, which is essentially what we're doing here. You have the PAS formula. But what he does is he adds an extra TOR after the solution, and he also adds a story with the S. So rather than just getting straight to the offer, he tells a story. Now, it can be your story or a third party story. And I like to use the feel, felt, found technique. Go, that person knows exactly how you felt. He went through a similar situation. And you can be indirect too. You don't have to have one direct offer. You can have similar solutions that they tried this worked for them. Also yourself. This is the star of your story. And then in that story, you're introducing a solution. In the pastor formula, you basically get into the testimony. The T stands for transformation testimony. You show them real world proof, some social examples, some social proof, some receipts, some real world results using the same exact solution that you're introducing in your story and how it worked for them or it worked for the star of your story. So if you're telling a story about yourself, then you're going to be talking about the problem and the pain that you went through. I know exactly how you feel, man. I felt the same way when I was going through that. It absolutely sucked. And for years, I was going through this months, but I just got fed up in that. I tried all of these different things. You want to get very descriptive, and then you just amplify how much that problem has been for them. And then that's when you introduce the solution after you share the testimony, the transformation from the story. So then you get into O, which is offer. You describe exactly what you're selling. Now, as I was saying earlier, you can be indirect with it. While you're telling the story, you describe several different solutions that the person in your story used in order to solve their problem. and one of them was better than the others, et cetera, et cetera. So it sounds less salesy, like you're trying to sell them something by just giving them one offer, or you can just get into your one offer. It's up to you. And then R is basically your call to action. You want to ask for a specific action that you want to take. Now, Ray Edwards actually has a whole website where he goes through this. I'm just going to link it in the description. I'm not affiliated with him. Oops, didn't mean to do that. I'm not affiliated with him at all. I just found this to be really, really interesting. So I'll link all of these. He has detailed frameworks on his specific website. But what I'm going to be getting into, and I'm also going to share a couple of other videos here from my copywriting tutorials from a few years ago. All right, so this one I like more because it has more of the letters in the acronym. So let's just go over it real quick. Outrageously juicy, flavorful, and melt in your mouth tender. Dear food lover, if you're a lover of great ham, prepare to have your life changed. Have you noticed on menus today at America's greatest restaurants that chefs like Thomas Keller are going wild with dishes made from Kurabuto pork, an exotic breed of Japanese hog? Foodies everywhere are hailing Kurabuto as the Kobe beef for pork. But when I noticed that no one was creating ham from Kurabuto pigs, I personally sprang into action. So the problem that he's noticing here so far, at least, is that his favorite type of beef, pork, ham is not available. The ones that he's specifically referencing in the American restaurants. So that's what made him sprung into action. So he's immediately getting into the problem pain as well as the solution and the story. So it kind of preps you a little bit, not entirely, but it kind of kind of gives you a nod towards that direction. So let's get right back into it. Leading to the development of the greatest hunk of baked ham for your Easter table that you will ever experience. And this ham will be ready for Easter 2005. Best of all, you can have one of these unbelievably succulent haunches delivered right to your door in time for the holiday. First, let me tell you how I got involved with this rare and delicious meat. So this is the story right here. About a year ago, I plunged myself headlong into the wild world of ham in preparation for a comprehensive Easter ham tasting for the March 2004 issue of the Rosengarten Report. Like Lois and Clark, exploring a new continent, I committed myself to leading a journalistic expedition through the uncharted wilderness of hamdom to map out the territory and find that ham that has it all. So let's get into great detail about his journey. He said he plunged himself into a headlong, wide world of ham in preparation for a comprehensive Easter ham tasting that he had to prepare himself for. So he, like Lois and Clark exploring a new continent, he committed himself to leading a journalistic expedition through the uncharted wilderness of hamdom. You can call him a foodie fuss budget, but after months of research and tasting more than 100 hams, to his surprise, he couldn't find a single ham that satisfied him on every count. So remember when I was telling you earlier about I tried this, and I tried this. And that's what you want to include in the story because nothing is ever just a straight line. And if you want your story to have credibility and believability, you need to show all the pitfalls as well. At every turn, I kept feeling, darn, if I only, if only I were calling the hammy shots, I'd make every top quality choice along the way. Because I learned that's what it takes. Knowing what the top quality choices are and having the courage to spend whatever it takes to make them. So in this story, he's also indirectly saying, hey, I went through all of this so that you don't. I went through the trouble. I went to the top of the mountain, got the arrows in my back. I'm the pioneer, and I came back with the actual right hand, not all that crap, to avoid you all the trouble. Or you can do it yourself and go through all of that. So he's saying that indirectly there. I've been living with this aching disappointment for about a year now, during which time I started to hear more and more about a small band of quality livestock producers in America struggling to bring back heritage breeds of pork. Somebody had to do something because American pork producers in the 1990s had moved in mass to produce a leaner, drier, and far less flavorful pork they marketed as the they market it as the other white meat. Yuck. Where's the pork? People like me have been asking for years. At the head of the new full-flavored heritage piggy pack is a Japanese breed of pig called Karabuta. So it took them to go through all of that in order to find this. And the problem is they keep making this more leaner, drier, and far less flavorful pork, which I'm sure the person who's reading is who's interested in ham is probably, man, he's absolutely right, you know? And now he's educating right here. So real quick before I continue on, let's get into the transformation in him himself through his journey, what he had to go through while he was going through all that hustle and bustle and trying to figure out, the right ham. He was experiencing the same old problem over and over again until he pointed his attention towards what he kept hearing about over and over again from Japan, this karabuta meat, this pork. So this is sort of his testimony here. And as you can see, he has some social proof right here on the right hand side. So this is the real world examples, having New York Times as well as the names in there that adds credibility to it. Really important for your sales letter. He says, pig, a Japanese breed of pig called Karabuta, which after being enthusiastically embraced by top chefs like Thomas Keller of the French Laundry, has become one of the hottest foodie obsessions of 2005, according to Bon Appetit magazine. Many say that Karabuto pork is to regular pork as Kobe beef is to regular steak. So that's a really interesting analogy there. And that's when a light bulb pops up on his head. The one thing I hadn't seen, however, was Karabuto ham. So he had a bit of an innovation moment there. The solution he's talking about. So I started thinking, what would happen if I found me some of this Stella Karabuto pork, had it raised just the way I like it, and had it delivered to a ham specialist who'd be willing to carry and smoke a hind leg of Karabuto to my specifications? Would I not then have my hands on the ham of hams, the hyper ham, the greatest ham story ever told, the grandest ham? What am? In a word, the answer is yes. And the reason I know the answer is because I have already had that ham made, have tasted it, have had my mind blown by it, and I'm now offering you the chance to put this ultimate Rosengarten Karabuto ham on your Easter table in 2005. So I'm going to jump to the bottom here because he talks about why his is superior, what makes Kurabuto taste to be the absolute best compared to all of the others, some more credibility here from the Wall Street Journal. And then at the very bottom, as you can imagine, he has an offer. So this is the urgency right here. I must tell you, however, the supplies of this rare Kurabuto ham are quite limited, not only by small quantities, but especially by time. Your order can be accepted only if you receive it by midnight, Monday, March 14th, 2005. Any orders received thereafter will be reluctantly returned. So that's a bit of the pain right here. What would happen if you continue waiting? What would happen if you don't solve the problem of getting his ham compared to everybody else's? Well, he has a deadline right there. He has a stopping point. If you don't get it after this, then you're just gonna have to wait. And this is also his offer right here, and he's asking for a specific action for you to take. And if you remember early, he shared his testimony and had a bit of a transformation process with the light bulb moment, with real world proof of the change. Really wanted to share this with you because I remember this letter and there's just so much to go through, and I want to share this. I'm going to share this with you as well. He has a PS at the end with a bit of a guarantee. All right, so I'm running out of time here, so I'm just going to leave this in the description. It's from Gary Halbert, the greatest copywriter that's ever lived. And I want you to go ahead. I know that I was going to make a video, I was going to have a section for this, but I got to get going here. I want to make sure I put out this video and share the pasture formula with you. But I really highly encourage you to take a look at the links in the descriptions. I'm not affiliated with anything. You don't got to worry about me like trying to like ask for your credit card or anything. This is all just stuff I had AI go, hey, can you give me some stuff from swipe.co that covers the pastor formula? So I'll have this right here as well as my copywriting tutorials from the last 3 years. I have almost every formula now so far, as well as a lot of cool direct response copywriting stuff. If you know, you know, Gary Halbert letter. And then on your own time, I want you to go ahead and go through this letter right here by the greatest copywriter to ever live, Gary Halbert. The amazing health secret of the oldest person in the world. A fantastic example of storytelling from the great Gary Halbert. The target market wants to live a long life, and Gary tells the story of the oldest man to ever live, leading to the idea that he lived as long as he did because of a clean colon, since the product is a colon cleanse. He then follows up with scary facts and truths that include referencing a Nobel Prize winner for credibility. Very entertaining piece, particularly for a product pertaining to colon cleansing. So I want you to read this with the pastor formula in mind. I'm just going to go over one more time and I'm going to wrap this video up. So remember, the P stands for person, problem, pain. You identify who you're talking to and the problem they may face. A stands for amplify, stress the consequences of not solving the problem. S stands for story, solution, tell a story of how the problem was solved. T stands for transformation and testimony, show real world proof of the change. O stands for offer, describe exactly what you're selling. And R stands for response, ask for the specific action that you want to take. All right. So that'll be pretty much it for this video. It's been over a year and a half since I made one. So I'm kind of getting back into the groove of things. I'm brushing off the cobwebs, getting the rust off. But right now I'm kind of still setting up my office right here. So I'm actually on my laptop sitting on the floor. But I just really wanted to share this with you. I really want to get a video out there and get the ball rolling again on my YouTube channel because I'm definitely off of vacation. It's time to get back to work. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please share with your friends, leave a comment, save it to your playlist, click like, and do all that YouTube stuff. I really appreciate it. Take a look at the links in the descriptions for all references to this video, as well as the pinned comment by the Affiliate Marketing Samurai. And with that said, I will see you in the next video. See you then.